Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to an installment in the Quickview series. This one is one that I don't have to check my own archives to see if I've done it, because this is the Trilug 1.9, designed by Sweep Racing. Sweep Racing out of Korea, mostly known for buggy stuff. 1/8 buggy is what I know and remember Sweep Racing from. As a matter of fact, it is manufactured by SR Industrial, made in Korea. Now, where do we begin? We begin at the bottom of a hill. We are definitely at the bottom of a hill, because the Sweep Racing Trilug is, it's a Baja Pro X. Am I wrong? Is it a Baja Pro X? It's not a letter perfect copy of a Baja Pro X, but there's definitely a little bit of a resemblance there. More side lug, even more side lug, and a Baja Pro X has got a significant amount of side lug, because I have posited, and I don't believe that anything has come along to disprove it, that the Baja Pro XS, which is the DOT approved version in the real world, known to us in the tiny toy car world as the J Concepts Tusk, the Baja Pro XS is the superior component for rock crawling. You could maybe make an argument that it's a superior component for all-purpose driving. The Tusk is amazing. The Baja Pro X has a very narrow niche. So we are asking a very lot of the Sweep Gold compound. And I will tell you this carcass is thick, which is probably good, because this compound is very gummy. It is also heavily ribbed. It is also grooved on the sides. I don't know if that's to enhance deflection or resist it, but when you run the punch, when you hit it with your leather punch to punch your vent holes, it punches out a plug of rubber about 7 millimeters tall. So this carcass is thick. And I think Sweep has acknowledged this, because this is the foam that it comes with. This is the trick foam they make clown noses out of. This is a soft borderline ultra soft. They also sell these with dual stages, and that brings us to yet another problem with the Sweep Racing Trilug. That being, in the gold compound, and I think the pricing is the same for their soft and super soft compounds, they are $35 a pair. $35. And then they are not sold by your usual suspects. You can buy them from Sweep Racing USA, though depending on your location, they might say that they don't ship to your address, because I believe they are being dispatched internationally. And as we are alive and living in the tariff times, them being dispatched internationally makes them cost as mentioned, $35 a pair for the tires, or $47 a pair should you opt for the dual stage inserts. And I don't believe, based on this, you'd have any reason to. The carcass is quite thick. I think we'll be just fine with that ultra soft foam. Shipping for me, when I put it into the calculator, $19.15. So you're spending about $90 for a set of 4 of these. Now, knowing what we've known in the past, which is that the Baja Pro X is not a remarkably good rock crawling tire, and then acknowledging that a pair of Baja Pro X is $25 and a pair of these is $35, we are at the bottom of a hill, if not in a hole. We are nevertheless going to Class 2 protocol these, and we are going to test them as rock crawling tires, because they are being marketed and sold as rock crawling tires. What do they say on the front? Triple lug rock crawler 1.9 gold dot ultra soft with single stage soft insert. They do acknowledge that they are soft, and they are very soft. 1/18. super common. But because of that side lug, oh, baby, I would say 53, maybe 54. 2 1/16. Just out of curiosity. Oh, but these are even taller. These are like 123. These are a good 5 millimeters taller. Yeah. Yeah. So lower and almost the exact same width. And I know a lot of people like themselves a real properly skinny tire. So if that is the case, these are not for you. If you also enjoy a tire that doesn't... Are you an Iron Rock man? Yeah, let's show some opposites. Ew. That's... I don't know if that's the most side lug I've seen on a tire, but I gotta think it's up there. Top 5. Now all we gotta do is find the nut. The nut not behind the wheel. The nut that goes in front of the wheel. We slap that on there. Our man Baseline tests all things up to 4.7, actually up to about 5 inch, but usually up to about 4.76. I get the feeling that based on the absolute protrusions on the side of these, we're going to get a little bit of pow, pow, pow. Look at pow, pow, pow. Oh, yeah. We're going to get some poppity pop pirate ship noises out of these almost for sure. So, we take into account $90 a set after shipping, unless you can find some place that has free shipping, which, I mean, if so, tell me. Very thick carcass. They are a Baja Pro X and not an XS. These have a lot to answer for. And, historically, tires that fall into that $90 a set range, most of them do not ROI. The return on investment is not there. I mean, a full set of HPI Hot Bodies Sedonas is $55. They return on investment. A full set of Tusks is $55 to $60. They return on investment. Once you go past like $80, the question marks, the red flags start flashing up. So these were sent in to the Canyon for testing. I did not have any intention of testing them myself for basically the reasons I've outlined previously. I don't know what their end application is. This definitely looks more like a mud tire. This looks like the KLR, XMTs, the mud version. KLRMs, it looks a lot more like those. So I feel like these will probably have a service life in a situation that isn't pure rock crawling, because that amount of lug, that amount of side lug, and yet at the same time, do we not like to be suitably surprised when we head out on the course and go, oh wow, that's actually pretty good at that. That is my ultimate hope, but because of previous experience with all of the other Pro X tires, my expectations are suitably tempered. The 10 stages of the Class 2 Tire Test Protocol are coming up, including wet, and we're going to see how the Sweep Triple Lug 1.9 and Gold Super Soft Compound does. And honestly, in this moment, your guess is about as good as mine. It's a little bit bright and a lot of it early. 50, 10, 90. 90% relative humidity. 50 degrees, I've definitely come to the determination that despite living in the desert and having lived my whole life in the desert, I prefer the cold, and when I say cold, I mean the desert cold, because I would rather have 50 at this hour of the morning than 80, which is a thing that we often do. I don't even notice the humidity, really. It's not bad. 50, 90 is absolutely fine. There's some sort of bird in the tree that goes whoop, 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 whoop. I hope he sticks around. The Trilug on the trip back, incredibly noisy. Any amount of steering. Brow, 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 brow. And try as we may and try as we might, I don't know if we're going to be able to forget $90, you know. Well, that's good-ish so far. Okay. I think they're already, from the 30-some seconds we've seen, they're already ahead of, well, the RC four-wheel drive Baja Pro X is cataclysmically bad. It's got a little bit of... So what we're looking at here is compound superiority. Whatever sweep is cooking up to put in these does better. We hope for every tire to be good. But I mean, here's the deal. We're gonna have little sluggy moments. There's an imprecision, possibly due to the width, possibly due to the fact that there is indeed, yes indeed, there is a thing such that is too much side lug. Like, you kind of can't just put full-size tread blocks on the side. These kind of have full-size tread blocks on the side. They are super fresh mounted, so we will go through and we will see how they begin to collaborate. It's all right. It's all right. It's not, you know, you don't come out here on a tire that looks like that and expect pin performance. So we adjust accordingly. I just hope that these are tires that, at least in one aspect, I hope they do as they appear. You know, these should self-right incredibly. It's honestly, the surprise of the surprises for me is that they were so thick and so heavily belted, but the compliance appears to be at least fair. They're so thick. And that ribbing down the center, the ribs are 3 or 4 millimeters tall. And then typically, when you see a groove in the sidewall, so not a rib, but there's parts that are relieved on the sidewall, generally you think, oh, that's not good. Because it's going to assist compliance, but it's also going to remove sidewall integrity. And here's the thing. I'm a no ribs, no belts man. But if you're seeking more compliance, I think the avenue is thinner sidewall with a rib versus, or managing it via insert. I can't imagine a dual stage in this because firmer on the inside is just going to take more compliance away. They do not, there we go. Like the compound is grabbing. But again, I think mostly due to the Pro X lineage. They don't finish. They're not a precise tire because we have so much lug. And I'm not okay. Okay. First things first, second things second. I'm not a skinny tire guy. All right? I have yet to experience a situation where a tire that was overly thin, like guys will cut and shut tires down to like 40 millimeters wide. If a tire is, say, 4.65 or taller, and they make them really skinny, I've never seen a benefit. Because what happens is the PSI is either too high or too low. It doesn't distribute the weight in any positive way. Guys are obviously doing it because they do love thin tires. Thick, big, wide boys, say a tire north of 50 millimeters wide, they can absolutely work. And they tend to be more forgiving of that construction. I think this is an instance that is playing out right now. The compound is not being aided by the composition or the carcass. In our scale world, the Pro X pattern is too many compromises. It's a tire that is making effort to be good at everything. And the result ends up being that it's good at everything. But I think many of us would prefer a tire that's great at least one thing. And nothing that I've tested that's Pro X has been great at any one thing. Okay. Side hill? Is side hill going to be the standout for these guys? So there is definitely a point where we notice a loss in compliance. And as mentioned, that insert is really, really soft. And I'm never going to hand out bonus points or anything approximating a bonus point to a tire that requires attention, right? If you have to get letter specific with the insert, I think that speaks to the tire overall. And I don't think this has anything to do with sweep. I don't think it has anything to do with their compound. I think it has everything to do with the Pro X when it has been shown conclusively that the has never been named such Baja Pro XS, the dot legal version, aka the J Concepts Tusk or the Mix Racing Fusk. Hey, what's the best knockoff Amazon clone tire you can buy? It's the fake Tusk. Because and it's just the same tire, but a little narrower and with same pattern, smaller lugs. The Trilug suffers the same things. It suffers in the exact same situations that the Proline Pro X does. It needs an environment and a setup and a rig and an entire list of things isolated, very specific. It is a GP tire. You can take it on mud, you can take it on sand, it will handle loam, it will handle all sorts of things. For a rock crawling tire, it suffers the same things that scale tires suffer. Even though this one, I do not believe that the side lug on a taken up to full size, if this was a full size tire, it'd be something in the 40s. The side lugs would be like 2 or 3 inches tall. I don't think anything actually exists like that in the 1/1 world, not on this pattern. There are some wild tires. I mean, Genius from Brazil is a thing, so there are some wild tires out there. But every Pro X comes back to suffering the problems of a Pro X. That being, elements lost in translation. The Baja Pro X excels in the 1/1 world. I don't know if you've been able to tell. Sometimes I trick people with a thumbnail. This is not the 1-1 world. That truck is 5.5 pounds and it's 2 feet long. And if you took it up to full size, if we had a magical machine and we enlarged that big enough so that you could get in it, the tires would be chest high. They would be 2 feet wide. The vehicle would produce 1,000 horsepower. And even at full size, it would weigh like a ton. So its power to weight would be like 2 to 1. And it can do unbelievable things. Stuff that is nearly impossible. That was quite good. Respect where respect is due. That was quite good. Because ordinarily when tires get up here towards this middle, they kind of peter out. But we use that gigantic side lug, and I hooked a little lip right. Couldn't do it again. I hooked a lip with it, and they pulled right up. There's just... So I have definitely seen the Pro X in absolutely distinctly different compounds. This is the best of the Pro X. That said, the Pro X is not excellent as a rock crawling tire because it has all the advantages. We can do that slope right there. Just what we're doing on the dark side of the beast there would be terrifyingly steep in a full-size vehicle. It's over 45 degrees. There's a part it has to breach that's around 60 degrees to get over the lip. You would just be in the driver's seat staring at like right now you would just be staring at the sky. You wouldn't even be able to see the rocks. And this is commonplace for vehicles of this size. There's the hop. It's fairly big. Can we maneuver it around? It is the best of the Pro X. But by its lineage, by its very nature, that's good on the descent. It is not going to be an outstanding rock crawling tire. It's the exact same thing with Trepidors and basically anything Trepidor adjacent. Trepidor loves ground pressure. It wants more ground pressure than most 10th scale vehicles can generate. Because I do contend, and I will continue to contend, that if that set of tires requires a rig weight on the course above, say, 3.25 kilos, 7 pounds or so, if it needs ground pressure greater than that, maybe not a rock crawling tire. Trepidors come to life around 10 pounds, regardless of the insert, and they're notoriously difficult to find inserts for. These will just accommodate any typical 475 insert, 465 insert, because they're so thick. Could these benefit from a silicone? I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably, because I think if you're going to mount these, you're going to use them for what they are intended, an all-purpose scenario. Run these all. These are going to end up in a creek at some point, and that's absolutely fine. Someone, and I hope it's not me, but it's probably going to end up me. The tire test, the spreadsheet, the leaderboard, has to be approaching 200 tires if we haven't passed 200 tires. There needs to be a column added, because there are tires that are absolute stink as rock crawling tires, Trepidor, but absolutely marvelous in a trailing environment. Many of the G8 tires, which I have poo-pooed to some great length because unless your surface is tremendously grippy, G8 is not a very good rock crawling tire relative to other compounds. Based on that, I have basically cast aside a wide number of Proline G8 tires, only to come to realize some years later, in a trailing pursuit, some of them are irreplaceable. And not everyone is trying to do this. If you are, there are tires for you. If you are, this is not the tire for you. It is the imprecision that is truly paramount here. I cannot maneuver the way I would like because the 3 C's, compound, carcass, and composition, I think they got compound right. Whatever this sweep compound is, it feels pretty good. Carcass, I do not think is right. It is far too thick, so the tire is lacking compliance. But then again, I second guess myself immediately, because who is not to say that if they had made it thinner, it would just absolutely collapse all over itself, and then you're really relying on a dual stage insert. And when you order from Sweep, it does say, hey, do you want to add these dual stage inserts? So I would have preferred to see not a full-on Vanquish fingernail-thin sidewall, but a less all-purpose sidewall. Now, if my consideration, they're just so big and chunky. If my consideration was to put this on a trailing rig, then we're probably okay with the belting and with the thicker sidewall with the reliefs on them, because I would be fitting them with a silicone. I would be taking them out and running them in a variety of situations, on sand, on wet rock, through mud, and all of the environments which you would think would be more of a torture test, but it really isn't. It really isn't. For trailing purposes, choice 1 when selecting a tire is, does it look right? Now, I don't want to say going all the way to if it fits, it ships type scenario. Look at that. Because of the sun, and from where it prevails at this early hour, I had to sit down in a different spot. Went completely into the wrong line. I'm supposed to be right here. Grab the hook, twist, hook and twist. It does the thing. It does a thing that I don't like. It does a thing that freshens up all memory of the Pro X. That was good. Oh, it does have twinkles. This is not a bad tire. And if you're looking to the $80. You know, on the one hand, I'm like, if you're looking to buy a Pro X, and then I go, $80. Proline has reversed their pricing structure, so most of their tires are $25 a pair now. It's difficult. The Sweep Trilug has been the best of the Pro X that I've seen so far. But $80 worth? For a category that the leading qualifier is, does it look right? I don't know. It's definitely grippier than G8, for sure. It is a grand shame that I will outline very quickly. The grand shame is that, to my knowledge, Sweep makes a singular, in quotes, rock crawling tire, and it is fitted to baseline right now. It is the Trilug. Sweep, give us hieroglyphics, man. We don't need this. Like, we don't need a better Pro X. Do we? We don't need a better $80+ Pro X. 87, it was $87 and change after shipping. It's always a little bit of an... Yeah, it's the front whip. Front whip is better. Yeah, it's got some flywheel effect to it, but it's a little unpredictable. It's just one of those things. I think much like okay. Let me coalesce in transition outside of situations where you're relying on the surface to provide the grip and not the tire. When we're relying on the tire to provide grip to crawl rocks, never have I seen a Proline tire in G8 compound show itself as remarkable. Now, if your environment is high grip or you need long wearing, G8 is very good. So G8, whatever it means, the Recon approved, whatever, okay? Those tires are great for that because I'm thinking about the G8 Pro X. Sweep has a compound here that I think easily argue is superior to the Proline offering, is superior to G8 when molded to this. It's impossible to say if it's actually better because they make one tire and it's this one. And it's much like Proline is continually trying to make fetch happen by wheeling out more Aztecs. I've now seen clone Aztecs out on the market now. The Aztec is a siped Trepador. So, as a rock crawling tire, it's not very good. Here we have another Baja Pro X, which has never established itself to be a remarkably good crawling tire. And, as was mentioned earlier, there are those lightweight always people. There are the cut and shut them, get them as skinny as you can. Give me 18 millimeter beadlock rings. I don't think a 52, 53 millimeter tire is aimed at those guys. So who is the Sweep Racing Trilug aimed at? It's not me. I'm not in the market for $90 in trailing tires. I'm not in the market for $90 of rock crawling tires. I guess what I'm trying to think of is, were these $25 a pair instead of $35 a pair, and it didn't cost $20 to have them shipped to you, would they be an option? I mean, if for some reason you have to have a Pro X, this environment right here is where these are truly at home. You know that unpredictability on rocks? It is replaced with absolute predictability here. And they will just, look at that. That was the best thing I've seen these do. They love it. Chop. We get down on the dirt, and there are a lot of guys that I'll throw the little whip. I'll get whap, exactly where I want it. Like, it's just, we're Formula D with these. Like, we're controlling so good. So good. So, remember when I said a tire should be great at something? These are great at this. These are great at this. Mixed duty. Do you trail with your Capra? You know those Capras, those four-wheel steer Capras that came on Baja Pro X's? These would do better. These would do better. But for $90? These are remarkably good at this. Remarkably good. Sweep is focusing their attention in the wrong direction. This is not a rock crawling tire. You can do significantly better for significantly less. Get out there. Hang it out. No, spin it right here. We pop it? Just really good at this. And I have to think that this is the scenario where the 3 C's truly come together. All right? For rock crawling, when we add that column to the spreadsheet that has the adjusted trail factor, the CTF, the canyon trail factor on it, these would score high. It would be almost immediately offset by the $90 a set. But can't deny what they do. Man, do they love chop. On the one hand, hey. On the other hand, probably not enough. Are these tires better enough even over the G8 Pro X to justify the cost and the inconvenience? Absolutely not. They are all in by the time you have them in your hands, unless you have a source to obtain them more economically. These are, 75% more than a set of Pro X. You could get Amazon beadlocks and a set of Pro X for the cost of these. Are they better? Yes. The sweep compound is better on a rock. This does not bode well, though. Unless maybe they like it clean. Ugh. Oh, the imprecision is is so loud. They self-right reasonably well in a natural environment. Like I've put it back on wheels on rock a number of times here. But I mean, at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to. The fact that we can do it doesn't outweigh the fact that we've had to do it so many times. Show me the wet, easy side. Oh, it's not. Here's the thing. Oh, yeah. The imprecision when dry turns into borderline floundering when wet. Yeah, there's no real lateral control. Try to use what we got. There we go. Drive to the tire. Oh, I don't like seeing that. Oh, I don't like seeing that. Yeesh. Oh, so good in the chop. And, Proline Predator is clean wet. That's where they work. In other stuff, clean wet is where they excel. The Vanquish VXT2 basically only works in the wet. So how steep is the deduction for a tire that flounders a bit in the wet, but it's really good on chop stuff? It's a 94.5. We're throwing it in at a 94.5, and here's why. The Class 1 Louise Griffin, the G8 Hyrax, the Proline Mud Terrain TA KM3, the Axial Falcon Wild Peak, it's right there with those. And being right there with those, it dies on the vine, because there are tires in that selection that can be had for well under $50 a set. The price isn't what ultimately hurts the Trilug the most. It's the fact that in their singular effort at a rock crawling tire, they opted for a Pro X. And the Pro X is a pattern and a composition that just doesn't work. No one has Pro X fitted to their line. Oh, dude, it slays lines. No one is fitting, regardless of the compound. And the sweep compound is good, which makes me say, oh, what could have been? You know, if they had chosen to clone, geez, I don't know. If they had taken inspiration from, I don't know, anything. Any tire that has shown capability on, like, get a Baja Claw, you know? Get a Baja MTZ. Take almost any other Mickey Thompson tire. But instead, we are where we are. In a trailing pursuit, which is where I'm assuming these are going to end up, on some sort of utilitarian all-purpose platform. They're going to do fine. But I don't think that they will ever warrant the cost. Some things are more expensive because they are better, and some things are more expensive just because they're more expensive. And I feel like that's what we're experiencing here. It's not even the best tire out of Korea. Like, G-Made 1905s, I think, are the best tire out of Korea. So, take it as you will, you know. Trailing tires, pick them by look, and by how does the wallet feel about it. The Trepador is a terrible rock crawling tire, and I have like 3 sets of them because I don't use them for that. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Other than, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us here today. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I look forward to seeing you in the comments section below. In between now and when we meet again, please, one and all, do your very best to have a good one, everybody. Baseline and I are both unsure of how to feel. They didn't do badly. This was not a catastrophe. But, man, he and I agree. Hopes were higher. And we get what we get, and we don't get upset. Pop them off the wheels. Bag them up. On to the next thing. He agrees. On to the next thing.